You wanted your bike to sound better, look cleaner, or just feel cooler. But now you're one traffic stop away from federal time. Yep, some of the most popular motorcycle mods are also criminal offenses. Let's count down 7 customizations that might get your ride impounded and you arrested. Number 7. Helmet-mounted action cameras. You've probably seen it 100 times. Someone riding down the highway with a GoPro mounted to the top of their helmet, recording every twist of the throttle for their latest vlog. It's one of the most common motorcycle content creator mods out there. But what most riders don't realize is that this mod isn't just questionable. It's illegal in many parts of the United States. Yes, simply strapping a camera to your helmet could technically land you in legal trouble. The root of the issue comes down to helmet safety compliance. Department of Transportation certified helmets are designed, engineered, and tested to meet specific safety standards in their original unmodified form. The minute you bolt, glue, or strap something to that helmet, you are changing how it behaves in a crash. And that matters. Mounting a camera, a spike, or even decorative fins can compromise how the helmet disperses energy on impact. That creates a risk not only for you, but also for the helmet manufacturer and insurance companies involved in any potential accident investigation. This law also applies to communication systems, antenna mounts, mohawk strips, and novelty accessories. While side-mounted comm systems like a Sena or Cardo are often overlooked and still widely used, the laws on the books in many states do not technically allow any exterior modification to a helmet. It does not matter if it is screwed on or taped on. The law only cares about whether or not the helmet remains as originally tested and certified. Some states like California, New York, and Illinois have explicitly banned helmet-mounted cameras and accessories under vehicle safety codes, citing interference with safety certification. Other states may not have clear language, but still enforce the rule under broader helmet modification laws. That means whether you're filming a vlog or just riding with a Bluetooth system, you're technically in violation unless the gear is built into the helmet from the factory. The risk isn't just about a citation. If you are ever involved in an accident and your helmet has been modified, an insurance adjuster or personal injury attorney could argue that the helmet's performance was compromised, possibly affecting your coverage or liability. That's especially concerning for older riders or long-haul tourers who rely on their gear to be safe and fully compliant. Another lesser-known risk is interference with helmet shell integrity. Mounts that require adhesives or screws may create weak points that can fracture on impact. In a crash, something as small as a plastic clip could dig into the shell and reduce your protection, or worse, puncture through. It's rare, but not impossible. And in the eyes of the law, even that rare chance is reason enough to keep your helmet clean and unmodified. Despite this, thousands of riders still mount action cameras anyway. Police rarely enforce this rule unless they are already pulling a rider over for something else. It's one of those laws that stays quietly ignored until it's not. So if you plan on filming your next ride, it may be smarter to use a chest mount or attach the camera to your bike directly. It keeps your helmet safe, keeps your footage rolling, and keeps your record clean. And that's a win no matter where you ride. If you're still watching, you're either curious or guilty. Either way, hit like and subscribe. Number 6. Deleting turn signals. For some riders, turn signals are the first thing to go. Maybe they want a cleaner tail section. Maybe they think hand signals are enough. Or maybe they just don't care. But in most states across America, deleting your motorcycle's turn signals isn't just sketchy, it's flat out illegal. And depending on where you live, it could get your bike impounded or land you a hefty citation. Now, there's a bit of gray area when it comes to what's legal and what's not. Some states still allow the use of hand signals as a replacement for turn indicators, especially on older bikes. But even then, the moment you're riding at night or on a highway, hand signals aren't just ineffective, they're invisible. That's why most states require motorcycles to have functional, visible, and DOT-compliant turn signals. If you yank yours off and hope for the best, you're rolling the dice every time you hit the road. Things get even more complicated with integrated signals. Riders often buy aftermarket kits that combine turn signals with the brake light, all housed in one compact unit. It might look slick, but many of these setups don't provide the necessary angle of visibility to be considered street legal. Some states mandate that turn signals must be visible from a specific distance and angle, requirements that most integrated lights just don't meet. And then there are the riders who simply remove the signals altogether. No front, no rear, just a brake light and vibes. That might fly in your local parking lot, but if a law enforcement officer spots you on a public road without indicators, you're asking for trouble. Turn signal violations might seem like small potatoes, but they're often stacked onto other infractions during a stop. If you're pulled over for speeding or riding without insurance, missing turn signals give officers one more reason to write you up, or worse, seize the bike. From a safety standpoint, this mod makes even less sense. Turn signals exist for a reason, and it's not just for looks. In dense traffic or on multi-lane highways, your blinkers are how you communicate with the vehicles around you. Remove them and you're hoping every driver can guess what you're about to do. That's not just unsafe, it's reckless. Older riders especially know the importance of clear, consistent signaling. When your reaction time slows down and your physical flexibility isn't what it used to be, hand signals aren't reliable. You need visible, bright lights that take the guesswork out of riding. And if your goal is to clean up the bike's look, there are plenty of sleek, legal aftermarket options that maintain proper functionality while slimming down the profile. The worst part? This is one of the easiest things to get right. Install a proper set of signals, front and rear, with correct spacing and brightness, and you'll avoid the headache. Skip it, and you're just begging to be pulled over by a trooper who's already had a long day. If you're serious about keeping your bike road legal, this is one mod you don't want to mess with. And while turn signals might seem small, the next item on this list proves that tiny details can still carry big legal consequences. Number 5, removing mirrors. For many riders chasing that ultra-clean cafe racer or bobber look, removing mirrors seems like a no-brainer. After all, nothing ruins a sleek handlebar setup quite like big, rectangular factory mirrors sticking out like awkward antennae. But while this might earn you points at bike night, it could also earn you a ticket. Or worse, in almost every U.S. state, operating a motorcycle without at least one functional mirror is illegal. And in some jurisdictions, the law requires two. Mirrors aren't just about checking your hair or admiring your leather jacket. They are an essential piece of safety equipment, especially for motorcyclists navigating through traffic filled with oversized SUVs, inattentive drivers, and unpredictable lane changers. Being able to see what's behind you without turning your head is not a luxury, it's survival. And that's exactly why law enforcement takes missing mirrors seriously. Some riders try to cheat the system by installing cheap bar-end mirrors. While some of these setups are technically legal, many fall short in real-world use. They vibrate, shake, and give you a distorted fisheye view that's nearly useless at highway speeds. Worse still, some bar-end mirrors are mounted too narrowly, making it difficult to see past your own shoulders. That may technically satisfy the letter of the law in certain states, but it does nothing for your actual visibility. The legal requirement varies by location. States like California require at least one mirror, while others mandate two. The mirrors must provide a clear view of at least 200 feet to the rear. If you've ditched your mirrors completely, you're not just breaking the law, you're making it harder to ride defensively. And if you're pulled over for another violation, missing mirrors give an officer yet another reason to cite you or detain your bike. Let's also talk insurance. In the event of an accident, missing safety equipment like mirrors can come back to bite you. If you're hit from behind and didn't have a legal mirror setup, an insurance company could argue that your lack of visibility contributed to the crash. That could reduce your payout, delay your claim, or even expose you to liability in court. It's a small risk with big consequences. And there's another element to consider: public perception. Senior riders, especially those who have logged thousands of miles on touring machines, understand that visibility is everything. They've seen enough close calls to know how important it is to keep their eyes moving, their heads on a swivel, and their mirrors adjusted properly. When younger riders show up with stripped-down builds and zero rear visibility, it sends the wrong message: style over safety. Yes, stock mirrors can be ugly. Yes, they can ruin the lines of a beautiful tank and bar setup, but modern aftermarket options offer a middle ground. Sleek, billet-machined mirrors with improved optics can maintain a clean aesthetic while keeping your bike road legal and rideable. It's a small investment that can keep you safer and keep the law off your back. In short, if you're riding without mirrors, you're not just breaking the law, you're cutting off your rear-view lifeline. And the next mod on our list pushes that boundary even further by messing with something every bike is born with. It's exhaust. Number 4. Full exhaust system replacements. Nothing says custom build like a full aftermarket exhaust. It's one of the first upgrades riders do, especially on cruisers, sport bikes, and naked machines. The sound gets louder. The throttle response feels snappier. The look becomes cleaner and meaner. But here's the problem. In many parts of the United States, installing a full exhaust system that deletes emissions equipment isn't just frowned upon, it's downright illegal. The core issue comes down to the catalytic converter. Starting in the mid-2000s, most motorcycles began shipping with catalytic converters to meet increasingly strict federal emission standards. These converters filter out harmful gases and particulates before they exit the pipe. And when you install a full system that eliminates the cat, you're violating both federal law and many state regulations, even if the bike sounds amazing doing it. Some riders argue that motorcycles are such a small part of overall vehicle emissions that these laws are overkill. That may be true in the big picture, but the Environmental Protection Agency doesn't see it that way. They have cracked down hard on non-compliant systems in recent years, even going after major aftermarket manufacturers and tuning shops. For street use, a full exhaust that removes the catalytic converter is a legal landmine waiting to explode. Even slip-on exhausts, which seem harmless, can be illegal depending on the design. Some bikes, like certain Harley-Davidson models or Yamaha's MT series, have the catalytic converter built into the muffler itself. Swap it out and you've unknowingly deleted your emission system. Most companies try to protect themselves by labeling these parts for off-road or race use only, but if you ride it on public roads, you're still on the hook. The penalties can vary. In California, for example, the California Air Resources Board has issued fines of up to $37,500 per violation for shops that sell or install non-compliant parts. While the average rider likely won't face fines that steep, being pulled over with a loud or illegal exhaust could lead to citations, vehicle inspections, or orders to reinstall the original system. Then there's the noise. Many aftermarket full systems produce decibel levels well above what's permitted for street use. States like New York and Florida have cracked down on excessively loud motorcycles, with officers carrying portable sound meters to measure exhaust noise on the spot. If you're running an open pipe that exceeds legal limits, you could face immediate citations or be forced to tow the bike home. For older riders or those cruising cross-country, there's also the comfort factor. Full systems often increase the drone at highway speeds and reduce back pressure in ways that can affect fuel economy and engine temperature. Sure, they sound great at idle or pulling off from a stoplight, but after an hour on the freeway, that volume turns into fatigue. And so does the constant fear of getting pulled over. The truth is, a full exhaust system might make your bike louder and meaner, but it also puts a target on your back. Between emissions laws, noise restrictions, and the risk of roadside inspections, this mod is one of the riskiest ways to upgrade your ride. And if you think the exhaust is controversial, wait until you see what happens when riders start cutting into their tail sections. Number 3. Fender Eliminators. For riders chasing a clean, minimalist rear end, the first thing to go is almost always the factory fender. That bulky plastic appendage hanging off the back of your motorcycle, often called the whale tail, is a common target for replacement. Enter the Fender Eliminator, or as some call it, the Tail Tidy. These kits clean up the back end by tucking the license plate and lighting closer to the body. They look great, they're wildly popular, and in many cases, they're completely illegal. Let's get something clear. Simply replacing your rear fender isn't illegal by itself. The problem comes from what the stock fender assembly includes and what riders forget to reinstall. From the factory, that ugly bracket typically houses the license plate light, reflectors, rear turn signals, and sometimes even brake lighting. When you strip that setup for a sleek aftermarket kit, you're often deleting or repositioning all of that critical safety equipment. And that's where things go sideways with the law. Federal and state regulations require a license plate to be mounted in a clearly visible location with an external light to illuminate it at night. If you install a Fender Eliminator that tucks the plate under the tail, hides it behind the tire, or fails to light it up, you're breaking the law. Some riders go even further, mounting their plates vertically or at extreme angles to make them harder to read. That might help avoid photo enforcement, but it also helps attract tickets. The same goes for turn signals. Many cheap Eliminator kits don't come with brackets for reattaching indicators. Riders either leave them off or try to integrate them into the brake light. While integrated lighting may seem clever, many states require separate, spaced-out turn signals with visibility from specific distances and angles. Fail to meet those criteria, and you're now operating a motorcycle that isn't street legal. Then there's the issue of rear reflectors. Most tail-tidy kits remove them completely. While they might seem pointless, rear reflectors are federally required on all motorcycles sold in the United States. Remove them, and you've technically violated federal motor vehicle safety standards, even if no one notices at first. If you get pulled over for anything else, a sharp-eyed officer could hit you with additional violations on the spot. From a practical standpoint, deleting the rear fender also opens you up to a world of grime. That ugly bracket you tore off, it was doing a job, blocking dirt, water, and road debris from flying up your back and hitting drivers behind you. Aftermarket kits may not offer that same protection. You'll look cooler standing still, but ride through a puddle at speed, and you'll quickly find out why the stock fender existed in the first place. Still, the appeal of a cleaner tail section is strong. Plenty of riders go this route anyway, hoping to stay under the radar. And in some states, enforcement is lax. But that doesn't change the fact that a non-compliant Fender Eliminator setup, especially one with missing lights or an obscured plate, can cost you serious money in citations or inspections. If you want to clean up the rear of your motorcycle legally, invest in a proper kit that retains turn signals, includes a legal plate mount with lighting, and keeps your reflectors intact. Otherwise, that sleek new tail could be the reason you end up in court, or at least on the side of the road explaining yourself to a patrol officer. And if you thought tail tidies were sketchy, the next mod takes things one step further by messing with the laws around lighting altogether. Number 2. Illegal lighting mods. There's something undeniably cool about lighting up your bike like a Christmas tree, especially if you're into the custom bagger scene or you've got a flashy street fighter that just needs to glow green under the tank. But while underglow kits, color-shifting LEDs, and custom headlight tints might rack up the likes on Instagram, they can also rack up legal trouble faster than you think. Across the United States, illegal lighting mods are one of the most common and most misunderstood violations riders make. Let's start with the basics. Every motorcycle operated on public roads must have a white front headlight and a red rear tail light that brightens under braking. Those are non-negotiable. But when you start adding extra lights, like underbody strips, accent rings, or color-changing LEDs, you're entering legal gray zones that turn pitch black in some jurisdictions. In many states, blue and red lighting on a civilian vehicle is strictly forbidden. Why? Because those colors are reserved for emergency vehicles like police cars, ambulances, and fire trucks. If your custom bike starts flashing blue underneath or pulsing red from the tail, you're potentially impersonating an emergency responder, even if you're just on your way to grab a burger. That's a serious offense in some states, with penalties that go well beyond fix-it tickets. And it's not just about colors. Flashing or strobing lights, especially those tied to your music system, are a huge no-no in most places. If your underglow system pulses in time with the beat or cycles colors while you ride, that can be classified as a distracted driving hazard. Some states, like Florida and Texas, have already introduced laws banning the use of color-changing LED lights on moving motorcycles. You can light up your garage all you want, but once your wheels hit the pavement, those lights better be off. Let's also not forget license plate lighting. This one trips up more riders than you'd think. Most Fender Eliminator kits remove the stock plate light entirely or replace it with a dim aftermarket bulb that fails to meet visibility standards. If your plate isn't lit clearly from at least 50 feet away at night, you're breaking the law. It's a small detail, but an easy reason for law enforcement to pull you over. And then there are headlight tints. Some riders use vinyl overlays or colored bulbs to give their bike a yellow, blue, or even purple glow. While this might make your ride stand out at the meetup, it's usually not legal for road use. Department of Transportation rules require motorcycle headlights to emit white light only. stray from that, and especially if your visibility drops as a result and you're opening yourself up to citations or failed inspections. For senior riders or those doing long-haul trips, lighting mods can also lead to unintended consequences. Some aftermarket systems draw excess current, putting strain on older bike electrical systems. Others flicker or fail under vibration, leaving you literally in the dark when you need visibility the most. In the end, lighting mods walk a dangerous line. Sure, they let you express your style, but they also draw attention. Not just from your riding buddies, but from every state trooper and safety inspector you pass. If you're going to light up your bike, do it right. Use Department of Transportation approved equipment, avoid restricted colors, and keep the strobing effects at the club, not on the interstate. Because once those lights come on, the law just might come after you next. And speaking of small details that can cost you big time, wait until you see what riders are illegally removing next, just for the sake of cleaner looks. Number 1, removing reflectors. It's probably the most overlooked mod in the motorcycle world, and for good reason. Reflectors aren't flashy. They don't make your bike faster, louder, or meaner. They just exist. Quietly, on your fork tubes, your license plate bracket, maybe even your saddlebags. And for most riders, they're the first thing to go. But here's the kicker. Removing those little reflectors is technically illegal in all 50 states. That's right. Yank them off and you've just modified your motorcycle in a way that violates federal law. From the factory, all street-legal motorcycles sold in the United States are required to have front and rear reflectors installed. This regulation comes straight from the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. The goal is simple. Make motorcycles more visible at night, especially when parked on the side of the road or riding in low light conditions. Reflectors bounce light back toward its source, giving cars an extra split second to notice you. It's not glamorous, but it's effective. Still, most riders, especially those chasing a clean, custom aesthetic, rip them off the second they get the bike home. After all, reflectors are often glued or bolted onto the fork legs or rear frame with no regard for design or symmetry. They stand out like sore thumbs on a custom build, and if you've ever tried to remove them, you know it's not as easy as it sounds. The glue is industrial strength. The bolts are awkward, and once they're gone, you're left scrubbing off residue and filling holes. But once they're gone, so is your compliance with federal safety standards. That means if you get pulled over, even for something totally unrelated, a sharp-eyed officer could hit you with a citation for missing reflectors. And while it might just be a fix-it ticket at first, some states are starting to take equipment violations more seriously, especially when combined with other infractions. Insurance companies might also raise an eyebrow if your reflectors are missing during a claim. If you're hit at night and your bike wasn't fully visible due to missing safety gear, they could argue contributory negligence. In other words, you made yourself harder to see. And that could hurt your case, reduce your payout, or even shift liability in a way you never expected. Older riders in particular should think twice before removing reflectors. If you're riding at dusk in the rain or through fog, reflectors are one more way to stay visible without drawing extra power from your electrical system. And for riders who don't like the look of factory parts, there are always sleeker, more subtle alternatives. Reflective pinstripes, integrated lighting, or custom mounts that keep you legal without sacrificing style. Here's the funny part. A huge number of used motorcycles on the road are already missing reflectors. If you've ever bought a secondhand bike, chances are good it came to you that way, and you may not have even noticed. But if you're stopped, you're still responsible. Ignorance isn't a defense when it comes to vehicle compliance. So next time you're tempted to clean up your ride by peeling off those little orange and red tabs, just remember, they might be tiny, but they can carry big consequences. From citations to safety risks to insurance nightmares, removing reflectors is the sleeper mod that could land you in hot water fast. Got a mod story that almost ended in handcuffs? Comment below, and hit like and subscribe if you survived it.